if you want to invest in China, as you know this area really well. If you want to invest in China, you have to have a 51% Chinese owner. You have to make sure that you do by their rules, and you don't have the authority, and you have to provide all access to all the data and information you have. There was a while there, as you recall, the last administration and other administrations, where the access to that market was enticing enough to get companies to come in because they had access to over 1 billion people in a market, not 1 billion, but a lot of people in the market. And so they were doing it. But that got curtailed when we started saying we're going to play by the same rules. For example, the idea they don't abide by the international rules related to subsidizing products by the government funding. So guess what? They're not going to be able to export their electric vehicles to the United States without a significant tariff. Others are doing the same thing around the world. But it is a concern. It is a concern that you have both China, North Korea, Russia, Iran, countries that are not necessarily coordinated in the past, looking to figure out how they can have impact.
Do you have a strategy to interrupt that impact?
Yes, I do, but I'm not prepared to talk about the detail of it in public. And I think you'll see that some of our European friends are going to be curtailing their investment in Russia. In China, as long as China continues to have this indirect help to Russia in terms of being able to help their economy as well as help them in, as a consequence of that, their ability to fight in Ukraine. The other thing that we talked a lot about is that, and I raised it, and I didn't hear any. I can't swear that everyone agreed because not everyone got to talk about it. But we need a new industrial policy in the West. For example, we talked about how both the EU as well as NATO has to be able to begin to build their own munition capacity, has to be able to generate their own capacity to provide for weapons and the ability to, it came as a surprise to some of us how we had fallen behind in the West in terms of the ability to construct new material, new weaponry, new everything from vehicles to weapon systems. And so one of the things that came out of this was we're going to be meeting again with a number of my colleagues, my European colleagues, is what do we do to increase the capacity of the West, particularly in Europe and Japan, to be able to generate the kind of ability to produce their own weapon systems. Not just for themselves, but to be able to generate that. It's the same, it's what Russia's trying to figure out, that they went to China and they didn't get the weapons, but then they went to North Korea. But we're going to be in a position where the West is going to become the industrial base for the ability to have all the defensive weapons that we need. That was a discussion as well.
Mr. President, I'm not sure you answered on whether you would be ready to go deal with Putin and Xi 2 or 3 years from now.
I'm ready to deal with them now and 3 years from now. Look, like I said, I'm dealing with Xi right now and direct contact with him. I have no good reason to talk to Putin right now. There's not much that he is prepared to do in terms of accommodating any change in his behavior. But there isn't any world leader I'm not prepared to deal with. But I understand the generic point is Putin ready to talk? I'm not ready to talk to Putin unless Putin's ready to change his behavior. And the idea, look, Putin's got a problem. First of all, in this war that he is supposedly have won. And by the way, I think, don't hold me to the exact number, but I think Russia had 17.3% of Ukraine that they've conquered. Now it's 17.4. I mean, in terms of percentage of territory. They've not been very successful. They've caused horrible damage and loss of life, but they've also lost over 350,000 troops, military, killed or wounded. They have over 1 million people, particularly young people with technical capability, leaving Russia because they see no future there. They've got a problem. But what they do have control of is they are very good at controlling and running the public outcry that relates to how they use mechanisms to communicate with people. They lie like hell to the constituencies. They lie like hell about what's going on. And so the idea that we're going to be able to fundamentally change Russia in the near term is not likely. But one thing for certain, if we allow Russia to succeed in Ukraine, they're not stopping in Ukraine. I recommend, I know you know this because you've written about it, read Putin's speech after they moved in, what it was all about in Kyiv. It wasn't about just, anyway, read what his objective is. And anyway, but so I think that I'm prepared to talk to any leader who wants to talk, including if Putin called me and wanted to talk. Last time I talked to Putin was trying to get him to work on an arms control agreement related to nuclear weapons in space. That didn't go very far. So my point is, I'm prepared to talk to anybody, but I don't see any inclination. There is an inclination on the part of the Chinese to keep in contact with me because they're not sure where this all goes. And look what's happened in Asia. We have strengthened the Asian Pacific area more than anybody else has. We just put together with, today I brought on, I asked our NATO allies that we bring on the group from the South Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Australia. I already mentioned Australia. And I met twice now, I think, with the 14 leaders of the Pacific Island nations. And we've slowed down what's going on there. We've slowed down China's reach. But there's a lot of work to do. This is a moving target, and I don't take it lightly. Assam from NPR.
Thank you, Mr. President. Asma Khalid with NPR. I have two questions. Earlier, you spoke about the ceasefire plan between Israel and Hamas. We're now looking at 10 months of war, and I'm curious if there's anything that you feel personally you wish you would have done differently over the course of the war. And then secondly, if I may, I wanted to ask you about your presidential campaign. I remember covering your campaign in 2020, and there was a moment where you referred to yourself as a, quote, bridge candidacy, a transition to a younger generation of leaders. I want to understand what changed.
Two things. Let's go back to when you talked about would I have changed anything that's happening with Israel and the Palestinians and the Palestinian movement. The answer is, as you recall, from the very beginning, I went to Israel, but I also got immediate contact with al-Sisi in Egypt. I met with the King of Jordan. I met with most of the Arab leaders to try to get a consensus going as to what had to be done to deal with getting more aid and food and medicine into the Gaza Strip. And we pushed it really hard. And Israel occasionally was less than cooperative, number one. The Israeli War Cabinet, I've been dealing with Israel since Golda Meir. Some of the reporters around here come here all the time and heard me say this. The first time I met with Golda Meir, I sat across from her at her desk, and her assistant was Rabin sitting next to me. That's how far back I go. I know Israel well, and I support Israel. But this war cabinet is one of the most conservative war cabinets in the history of Israel. And there's no ultimate answer other than a two-state solution here. And so what was able to be done in terms of the plan I put together was it would be a process for a two-state solution. And we get the Arab nations to, particularly from Egypt all the way to Saudi Arabia, to be in a position where they would cooperate in the transition so that they could keep the peace in Gaza without Israeli forces staying in Gaza. The question has been from the beginning, what's the day after in Gaza? And the day after in Gaza has to be, the end of the day after has to be no occupation by Israel on the Gaza Strip, as well as the ability for us to get in and out as rapidly as you can, all that's needed there. I've been disappointed that some of the things that I've put forward have not succeeded as well, like the port we attached from Cyprus. I was hopeful that would be more successful. But that's why when I went to Israel immediately after the massacres that occurred at the hands of Hamas, the one thing I said to the Israelis, and I met with the War Cabinet and with Bibi, don't make the same mistake America made after bin Laden. There's no need to occupy anywhere. Go after the people who did the job. You may recall, I still get criticized for it, but I was totally opposed to the occupation and trying to unite Afghanistan. Once we got bin Laden, we should have moved on, because it was not no one's ever going to unite that country. I've been over every inch of that, not every inch, the entirety from the poppy fields all the way to the north. I said, don't make the same mistake we made. Don't think that's what you should be doing, is doubling down. We'll help you find the bad guys, Sinwar and company. And all this criticism about I wouldn't provide when the weapons they needed. I'm not providing them 2,000-pound bombs. They cannot be used in Gaza or any populated area without causing great human tragedy and damage. But remember what happened when you had the attack on Israel with rockets and ballistic missiles. I was able to unite the Arab nations as well as Europe, and nothing happened. Nothing got hurt. It sent an incredible lesson to what was going on from the Middle East. So there's a lot of things, in retrospect, I wish I had been able to convince the Israelis to do. But the bottom line is we have a chance now. It's time to end this war. Doesn't mean walk away from going after Sinwar and Hamas. And if you notice, you know better than most, there is a growing dissatisfaction on the West Bank from the Palestinians about Hamas. Hamas is not popular now. And so there's a lot of moving parts. I just have to keep moving to make sure that we get as much done as we can toward a ceasefire, and get those. And by the way, look at the numbers in Israel. I mean, my numbers are better in Israel than they are here. But then again, they're better than a lot of other people here too. But anyway.
Bridge candidacy in 2020. You referred to yourself as being a bridge candidate for a younger, fresher generation of Democratic leaders, and I wanted to know what changed.
What changed was the gravity of the situation I inherited in terms of the economy, our foreign policy, and domestic division. And I think, I won't put words in anybody's mouth, most presidential historians give me credit for having accomplished more than most any president since Johnson and maybe before that to get major pieces of legislation passed. And what I realized was my long time in the Senate had equipped me to have the wisdom to know how to deal with the Congress to get things done. We got more major legislation passed that no one thought would happen. And I want to finish it, to get that finished. If tomorrow, if we had a circumstance where there was a lineup and I hadn't inherited what I did and we just moved things along, anyway, it's going to change.
Last question.
Haley Bull, Scripps. Or no, Josh Weingrove, I'm sorry, was the next one. I'll do 2 more questions.
Thank you, Mr. President. Many of your colleagues, Democrats on the Hill, are watching tonight as they assess what they want to say about your candidacy. I'm wondering how you're thinking of this right now. It seems like your answer is clear, but they're watching how things go tonight, tomorrow in Michigan, next week in Texas and Nevada. Are you thinking that way about whether how the next week or 2 goes would inform your...
Am I using that way, you say?
Are you thinking that way about how the next 2 weeks go? Will that affect your decision, or are you fully determined on running in November as the party's nominee?
I'm determined on running, but I think it's important that I allay fears by let them see me out there. Let me see them out, for the longest time it was, Biden's not prepared to sit with us unscripted. Biden's not prepared to, anyway. And so what I'm doing is, and I've been doing, I think we've done over 20 major events from Wisconsin to North Carolina to demonstrate that I'm going out in the areas where we think we can win, where we can persuade people to move our way, or people are already there. And here, look, the other thing is, we have the most extensive campaign organization of anybody's had in a long, long time. We have well over 1,000 volunteers knocking on doors, making phone calls, making tens of thousands of phone calls. We have headquarters, I forget exactly how many, I want to cite a number and then find out I'm off, but we have scores of headquarters in all the toss-up states. We're organized, we're moving, and that's awful hard to replace in the near term. And so, and here's the other thing. I was in the Senate a long time. Very proud of what I've done in the Senate. I was chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee for a long time, and I was chairman or ranking member and chairman of the Judiciary Committee. I'm going to be going down to the Johnson Library. Anyway, I'm going to be going around making the case of the things that I think we have to finish and how we can't afford to lose what we've done or backslide on civil rights, civil liberties, women's rights. There's that little button we have. Control guns, not girls. I mean, the idea we're sitting around, this is where Kamala's so good as well. We're sitting around, more children are killed by a bullet than any other cause of death. The United States of America. What the hell are we doing? What are we doing? We got a candidate saying, promise the NRA, don't worry, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything. You got a Supreme Court that is what you might call the most conservative court in American history. This is ridiculous. There's so much we can do still, and I'm determined to get it done. It's about freedom. And by the way, I'll end this. Well, I'm not going to do that. Haley has to come up too. But I remember I made a speech on democracy in Philadelphia at Independence Hall. And I'm not being critical, just observing. The bulk of the press said, what the hell is he talking about that for? Democracy. You did. Democracy's not an issue. Democracy's not an issue. Except the polling data showed 60% of the people knew I was right, thought I was right. I'm not asking you a question. You don't have to answer, obviously. But do you think our democracy is under siege based on this court? Do you think democracy is under siege based on Project 2025? Do you think he means what he says when he says he's going to do away with the civil service, eliminate the Department of Education, make sure, we've never been here before. And that's the other reason why you say, hand off to another generation. I've got to finish this job. I've got to finish this job because there's so much at stake.
We've had some discussions over the past few days with your press secretary about the question of health exams. And you said you take a cognitive test every day in this job. Are you open to taking another physical or test before the election? Governor Whitmer of Michigan, for instance, said it wouldn't hurt to take a test.
Well, look, 2 things. One, I've taken 3 significant and intense neurological exams by a neurologist. In each case, as recently as February. And they say I'm in good shape, okay? Although I do have a little problem with my left foot because it's not as sensitive because I broke my foot and didn't wear the boot. But I'm good. I'm tested every single day about my neurological capacity, the decisions I make every day. You talk to my staff, all of you talk to my staff. Sometimes my staff talks a lot. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think you have them telling you that all the major ideas we've undertaken haven't been in part initiated by me. I remember when the staff and I said, I'm going to go to South Korea, we're going to get the chip. What are you doing? I'm going to get Japan and Korea back together again after essentially having hostilities toward one another since the end of World War II. I'm going to move and see that we can expand it. You know, the only thing age does is help you with it. Creates a little bit of wisdom if you pay attention. And so the point I'm making is, I think it's important that if the neurologist tells me he thinks I need another exam, and by the way, I've laid every bit of the record out. Hadn't hidden a thing. You ought to ask Trump for his, okay? I laid it all out. And every single day I'm surrounded by good docs. If they think there's a problem, I promise you, or even if they don't think it's a problem, they think I should have a neurological exam again, I'll do it. But no one's suggesting that to me now. And I'll ask you another question. No matter what I did, no one's going to be satisfied. Did you have 7 docs? Did you have 2? Who'd you have? Did you do this? How many times did you? So I am not opposed if my doctors tell me I should have another neurological exam, I'll do it. But that's where I am. Haley Bull, Scripps.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said you're making decisions on a day-to-day basis when it comes to support for Ukraine. Does that mean you have not closed the door on further considering lifting restrictions for U.S.-made weapons inside Russia? And if I may, your convention is coming up where your delegates are pledged to make you the official nominee. If they have second thoughts, are they free to vote their conscience?
Obviously, they're free to do whatever they want, but I get overwhelming support. Overwhelming support. I won, I forget how many votes I won in the primary. Overwhelming. And so tomorrow, if all of a sudden I show up at the convention, everybody says, we want somebody else, that's the democratic process. It's not going to happen.
Even if that means they vote for someone else?
Sure. Look, I'll end this with this. I served in the Senate a long time. I understand the impetus of candidates running for local office and whether they think the topic can help them or not. In my state of Delaware, which was a very, at least a purple, it was a red state when I started, in terms of we now talk red and blue. I don't recall most of the Democratic presidents winning my state when I was a candidate. The truth of the matter is I understand the self-interest of every candidate. If they think that, running with Biden at the top is going to hurt them, then they're going to run away. I get it. But so far, go and look at the polling data in their states. Look at the in-depth, and by the way, I think you'd all acknowledge, and you're all experts. I'm not being solicitous about the president. You're experts on this stuff. How accurate does anybody think the polls are these days? I can give you a series of polls where you have likely voters, me versus Trump, where I win all the time. When the unlikely voters vote, he wins sometimes. The bottom line is all the polling data right now, which I think is premature because the campaign really hasn't even started. I mean, it hadn't started in earnest yet. Most of the time, it doesn't start till after September, after Labor Day. So a lot can happen. But I think I believe I'm the best qualified to govern. And I think I'm the best qualified to win. But there are other people who could beat Trump too. But it's awful start from scratch. And, we talk about, money raised. We're not doing bad. We got about $220 million in the bank. We're doing well. So with that, you have any want to follow up on any of that you just asked me?
Yes. You earlier explained confidence in your vice president.
Yes.
If your team came back and showed you data that she would fare better against former President Donald Trump, would you reconsider your decision to stay in the race?
No, unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win. Me. No one's saying that. No poll says that.
Mr. President,
Okay. Thanks.
This ends tonight's press conference. Thanks, everybody. This concludes.
respectfully, earlier you misspoke in your opening answer. You referred to Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump. Right now, Donald Trump is using that to mock your age and your memory. How do you combat that criticism from tonight?
Listen to him.
This concludes tonight's press conference. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everyone.
There you go. Get him off the stage quick. Yeah. All right, Joe. Good job. Joe, bringing it home tonight.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot to make of this night. Lot to make. Most importantly,
anyways,
President Biden and Vice President Trump are doing a very good job with President Putin of Ukraine. That's what we know for sure today.
And Joe Biden pointed out he's laying fear, which is good. And consulting with the commander-in-chief when it comes to military matters at NATO.
Listen, if you're a Trump supporter, this is as good a night as you could have had. That is as good a press conference as you could have hoped for. A couple rough patches at the start. Attacks Trump overseas, no good. Trashes Israel, no good. Yes, a lot of stuff, a lot of more political stuff than you would want to see from an American president overseas. The old politics ends at the edge of the water thing is out the window tonight, obviously. But if you were a Trump supporter, that is as good as you could have hoped for tonight. No cratering. Took lame, terrible questions. If he gets a C+, the media gets an F minus. And they helped him tonight. And they went against their own cause of trying to trash him and get him out because they gave him 45 minutes of puffballs that now him and his team, KJP tomorrow, he took questions for 45 minutes.
The media is going to give him an A+ tomorrow.
Oh, he's in. This is as good as you could hope for. If you're a Trump voter, he is in, baby. Bring it home, Joe. Build back better. Let's go. He's in.
It's like he just won the pickleball championship of the
Florida homestead
Wimbledon.
Senior Citizen Housing
That's
He won the Wimbledon of pickleball.
I mean, if you had a drinking game where, or the idea was part of it, you would be dead on the floor right now. But that's neither here nor there.
Your liver will be on strike.
I think I got 8 ideas. It could have been more because I did miss part of it. I think I counted 8. The idea, at least 6. But anyway, where he lost his train of thought because he tried to go off script and it didn't end well. And then he broke out the whispering. We haven't seen the whispering in a bit. Whispering Joe came back at least 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. But
nice.
I mean, this is as good. I mean, it's not good for you guys, I don't think, but it's as good if you support President Trump. This is as good as you could get tonight.
Well, I don't want him to go away, but I think it's inevitable.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely not inevitable after that performance.
Well,
what's the problem, Slick?
I want Trump to run against Joe Biden.
What do you mean?
You're doubling down on this, huh?
I mean, I'm just watching what's in front of me. What's your opinion?
Anyways, but honestly, I thought it was a dud the way he came out. He's got Trump confused with Kamala, and that wasn't a good opening.
Night and day from the debate, though.
And he started
it's night and day from the debate. It's night and day from Stephanopoulos. I'm telling you,
Listen, keep
This is what you're going to hear tomorrow. He took 45 minutes of questions. He went through all kinds of topics. He went through all kinds of, he named the names, he named the countries, he named the things. He went through all the I'm just telling you, that's what you're going to hear.
You know what I learned, though? I didn't know this, but I'm appreciative that the president told us about the ballistic missile attack on Israel. I don't know when that happened.
Yeah.
But I guess that must have been part of this Hamas war.
Come on.
Maybe Vice President
details.
Trump issued that.
Yeah.
Minor details.
And we also learned something new again, that he walks that way because of a broken foot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, he didn't wear the boot.
He didn't wear the boot.
See?
Das Boot.
I mean, you got to wear the boot.
I think
broken
Israel
foot.
picked up a shipment of 500-pound bombs today in Charleston, South Carolina, but they still won't give them the 2,000-pound JDAMs and the other stuff they need to win the war.
So, Zier, what did you think of this whole presser?
I thought Biden did very well. I don't agree with the stuff, but I thought he was coherent and somewhat succinct. I mean, for Joe Biden, listen, I want Trump to run against him, but I just don't see it. I think a couple of weeks go by, he fumbles again, and it's over.
I mean, I don't know.
He bought a stay of execution tonight.
Know what? I think he did enough to get himself the delegates and the nomination, the official nomination, and then they'll make their move.
Yeah.
Who's going to make their move?
The Barack Obama faction of the Democratic Party.
Well, they're already on the move.
No, I know, but then I think they're going to wait because, again, it becomes very sticky to try and get the money from the campaign and access to the ballot because Kamala's got to be on it. She has to be on that ballot.
I would question what's the difference between tonight and the debate. Is he on drugs? We're getting special shots. What's going on? And then, after calling Zelensky Putin, did they read him the riot act and said, this is your ass on the line. You better get it together tonight. I thought he was pretty good for him.
He made the case. He did just enough to make the case to stay in the race, which is what we want.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely what we want, we got tonight from Joe Biden. If you're a Trump supporter tonight, you've got to be happy. You have to be happy. Because there's no way they're going to turn around tomorrow and say, well, that was a disaster. He's got to go. They're not going to be able to say that.
Yeah, it started out that way when he references Vice President Trump.
Yeah, a couple rough patches at the start.
Just a few minor details.
Oh, this could get ugly quickly.
Yeah.
But he rallied.
Absolutely.
If you can rally.
I was cheering here before we came on air, watching it in the studio. I was cheering for him. Come on, big Biden. Bring it home, baby.
Come on, big guy.
From Big D.
Big boy
Big
press
B.
conference.
Yeah.
This is how you bring it home. I was hoping they were going to get the hook a little quicker because I just thought don't let them keep going on and ruin it. Don't let them keep going on and say, well, I don't know what can you say worse than Vice President Trump? We're calling, what's his name, Putin.
Zelensky calling him, introducing him as Putin. When I saw that, I was like, are you kidding me? I thought it was like a big get. Like he surprised everybody. He's like, look who I got here. I got Putin. Come on up.
Buzzard of 207 pointed out on YouTube that he didn't talk about the collapsed and failed dock, the $350 million dock.
Well, he did. He actually said, remember he said he hoped it would have gone better. He actually did reference it, I think.
The dock itself?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
He said, I think he called it the pier. I think he called it the pier. I think he did reference it.
But didn't he say Cyprus? Didn't he bring up Cyprus when he was
something
talking
like
about
that?
That I
think
didn't
he talked
understand.
about the UAE as well or something.
Jeremy on Facebook, I'm with Damon. Not a chance in hell Biden drops out now. It'll be Biden Trump. I agree. This is absolutely the night you wanted if you're a Trump supporter. And you could thank the media for most of it. I mean, who cares about half those questions?
Well, let's face it. I mean, they weren't going to let him answer real questions. It was you had to submit your questions. Remember, he had the card with the person and their face.
Oh, we knew that.
Their name, and they'd been going over the questions. They probably had to change some questions, which is probably why they made it an hour later. Like, all right, let's go over this one more time.
I thought it was a victory for him with the pro-Palestinian crowd because he was, anti-Israel apparently in this message tonight, and so may have been successul in putting
shoring up that Minnesota vote.
Yeah, Michigan,
which is very important because,
I have a list here of people to call on. I mean, you couldn't have something more rigged if you tried than this thing. But good.
As soon as I heard that, I was screaming in my car because I was listening in my car driving in. I'm like, no. But we knew it was going to happen.
Teleprompters, pre-programmed questions. Still some flops, but you can't. They will not be able to say what they had to say after the Little Georgie interview and after the debate. He did enough to hang around. And if he hangs around to the 21st, 10 days from now,
he's in.
He's in. And he was asked, by the way, he took the question about the delegates straight on. He didn't try to pull any. He said if they want to vote their conscience, go ahead. That's the democratic whatever he said. That's democracy in action or whatever he said.
Right, but that's not what they're allowed to do. They have to vote for who they were selected to vote for the first round.
Which is him.
Yes. There is no conscience. It's unconscious. You do what you're told.
Well, that's what we've been saying all along. There is no vehicle to get him out if he decides he's not going. And tonight he is walking off that stage going like this. Yeah, mama. We did it. We did it. His people, you watch. I bet you even tonight during the show, as we monitor social media, you're going to see from his team, you're going to see stuff out there. They're going to come out with how strong this is.
CNN.
I'll bet the networks.
Oh yeah.
There is a clip here of Secretary Blinken, Austin, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, all sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
And they have like a side shot of them when he talks
like
about Vice
Cheshire
President
Cat.
Trump, and they're all just like. One of them covers his face. I don't know. I think it's Jake Sullivan who covered his mouth like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, here it is. You want to throw this up, Aaron? Here it is.
Yeah, they were throwing up their mouths.
That's what I was just watching.
Here it is.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she's not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
Jake Sullivan's like,
Number one. The fact is that
He's screaming the F word in his
the
head.
consideration.
Is that a C-SPAN shot?
I'll tell you what, Blinken and the guy who runs that outfit over there, Secretary of Defense Austin, Jake Sullivan raises the hand, but they obviously have been taught. No matter what you hear, you are not going to even raise an eyebrow because they don't even blink. Sullivan brings the hand up.
Well, Biden could have said anything he wanted tonight as long as he was coherent, because now Blinken could go do damage control, because Cyprus is really important for Israel to launch an invasion into against Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now he can go and apologize to the Israelis for broadsiding.
RNC Research has a clip of him following the advice of my commander-in-chief. That they've got isolated.
Yeah, that was one of those moments where he couldn't seem to find what his brain was trying to tell him to say. He said Commander-in-Chief, and I think he probably meant Secretary of Defense first. He said, then I think he said Secretary of Defense second.
Damon, Mike Sokowski on YouTube says Biden had an earpiece feeding him info. Did you guys miss his stop mid-sentence and ask nobody in particular? What did you say? Did anyone pick up on that?
I heard him stop say, what did you say? But I thought he was talking to somebody from the crowd who shouted something or shouted something.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The whole thing, his whole answer about managing his schedule was also kind of strange. About not going to bed at 8. He's saying, well, if you have a fundraiser, let's start, instead of starting it at 9, let's start it at 8 so people can be home by 10.
Yeah.
So he tried to get around that whole my staff ad stuff. I mean, there was a whole bunch of just, I mean, this is the times we're in. That a straight ahead press conference by the President of the United States, who Trump and Bush and all, you look back at how many they all did, and this guy's done not even a fifth of the numbers that some of the other ones have done. But here we are building this up to such an event and looking at every single question and answer and word and just picking it all apart in these answers that he gave on these topics. I mean, the media gets an absolute F- tonight on these questions. And by the way, on follow-ups, I mean, they had really chances to kind of go wherever they wanted to go. I mean, maybe they, obviously they probably gave some of their first questions. But I mean, on follow-ups, I'm sure they could have gone other places.
I thought there were some tough questions,
mean,
like
half of
justifying Kamala and.
Come on. The best one was the way he capped off the night. And I think we're kind of missing it. But when I see it written here and isolated, you referred to Vice President Harris. This was the last question. As Vice President Trump. Right now, Trump is using that to mock you.
Oh, yeah.
How do you combat that criticism for tonight?
Listen to him.
Listen to Trump.
Listen to him. Okay.
So
he's mocking you.
I missed the beginning. Did they question him on calling Zelensky Putin at the conference?
No, they didn't mention that.
That's a big
I think that.
Yes, they did. Well, some guy said to him. They absolutely did. He said earlier today, you called. Guy had a question about that.
All right.
That was like the second or third question in.
All right.
Was it a question or was it just something he went to?
No, it was
by
a
himself?
question from the reporter. Okay. He reminded him. And Biden said, well, I had just said Putin like 4 times in my mind, and then I went to introduce him, and I said, and he explained it.
Yeah.
Ari Fleischer tonight knows a lot about working in the White House. Biden had a good enough night
good enough
that Dees will not go into full public meltdown, at least not tonight. He bought himself more time, which probably is upsetting to a lot of Democrats who think he is the weakest candidate versus Trump and want to get this over. They are in a real jam.
Question one of the Biden proves that he's the best candidate. Press conference off to a flying start. This coming from Dave Portnoy. Is my Vice President Trump? And he writes, nailed it.
Jen Rubin from the Washington Post. Best outing since the debate.
Ah, okay.
Probably.
There you go.
That's not good. Since he's done 20 events, that's the best one.
Let's get some other results. I think everybody's going to be where I'm at. Mike Cernovich, good enough to stay. I saw Ben Shapiro had a reaction. Let's pull that up. Any other reaction you guys are seeing?
Let's see. Dom Lucre, the breaker of narratives. I'll take your questions. I've been given a list of people to call on here. Yeah, we talked about it. This is all pre-scripted, kids. You're not gonna get a Donald Trump-like press conference where people will yell. He will respond to each and every person. He'll stay for 2 hours plus and just banter back and forth with people off the top of his head. It's not possible. Not with this bag of bones. Inhabited by one brain cell.
He started off rough, but this is good enough to keep him in the race, which is terrible news for Democrats and excellent news for Trump.
That's what I keep saying.
I agree.
Tom Luker says Biden just confirmed he only takes questions from a pre-approved list of journalists.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, 42 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night. Lots to do. We'll do some sports. We'll do some news. David Zier is here as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down. We'll get your reaction to what we just saw in the Biden press conference. I say it's as good as we could have hoped for. If you want President Trump back in there, this is as good as it gets tonight because this is going to keep Joe in there. So we'll get your reaction. More to do on a Thursday live from Studio 6B. Live on socials. Probably worst case scenario for Dems. Did well enough to invigorate Blue MAGA and bad enough for viral clips of Vice President Trump and Putin to circulate amongst normie voters all weekend. That's exactly right.
And I'm so happy that we have Joe to thank for putting Japan and South Korea back together.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Wow.
You know what? I didn't realize he had been busy back in December of 1965 making sure that those two were, tight again.
Well, there is tension between South Korea too,
God.
and Japan, but it's not like North Korea and Japan and the United States.
Megyn Kelly, long rambling streams of consciousness soliloquies are also a sign of dementia.
Holy moly.
Come on.
It's crazy.
Come on, man.
I don't think that was good.
Here's the,
I didn't say it was good, Slick.
Right.
I said it was good enough for
it was
what
good
we want.
enough. Right.
The chips.
Yeah, the CHIPS Act. Come on.
Come on.
Japan ruled South Korea until World War II.
Chaos in the Democratic Party tonight, totally drowning out the RNC, would be about the best thing that could happen to Trump.
Brian Glenn weighed in. He says, great coverage, guys.
What's his thoughts?
He said, I agree 100% with you guys.
Did he? No, he didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know how you couldn't. That's as good as you could hope for.
Me.
Come on.
What did it? Come on, man.
Somebody wrote me, that was the goodest press conference in U.S. history.
Oh, man.
It was the bestest.
And you know what's crazy?
Kamala Harris. We did it, Joe. Joe Biden. Thank you, Slobodan Milosevic.
Good Lord.
Oh, God. It's amazing that we think that was good, given the circumstances we're in here. It's wild. All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B. I just want to be clear. When I say that was good, I don't mean it was good given any other standard other than the political world we are now living in with Joe Biden. I'm just saying, given the scenario that we have, that was about as good as you could hope for if you're a Trump supporter. But I don't think that was good. I don't think it was good. I don't think he was good. He's
right,
atrocious.
I heard Dan Bongino talk about this, saying he wants Biden to stay in the race because the Trump campaign has based their marketing on taking out Joe. So this actually works in their favor, so they don't have to change anything. They can continue battering this fossil and ramming him into a million pieces. And then I come across this from Randy the Savage, posted on X.
Oh, God.
A dancing, the character from Scream, dancing along, and it says Obama on his way to invite Biden out paddleboarding this weekend.
I saw that. Ken Delanian from NBC News. This is what did I say 20 minutes ago? Biden answering very good press questions and fighting for his political life. President Biden tonight is articulating complex foreign policy ideas forcefully and clearly.
Clearly.
Told you.
My friend Delois, who's a Virginia,
they're spinning it.
She's a Virginia delegate for the convention, and she said Dems rigged their primary for Biden. Now they're married to him. Happy nuptials.
Well, not only are they married to him, but to put that aside, I'm telling you, they're going to think tonight's a good night for him. They're going to be happy to be back married to him tonight after this tonight.
Morning Joe will be like, he's back. He's sharper than ever.
That is an absolute exceeding expectations night for Biden.
He even took extra questions.
He did.
Yeah,
Three
took
extra
questions.
Well,
different subjects. What did that guy just say? Complex foreign policy ideas.
Well, President Trump posted something. I don't know if you guys caught it. You probably did at this point. I think everybody's caught it by this point, of George Clooney giving Joe Biden the bad news. You guys want to see this?
Yeah, what does he say?
This is cut number 3. Check this out.
So although I wish I were here with better news, the fact is that you and I are sitting here today because this will be your last week of employment. This is not an assessment of your productivity. You gotta try not to take this personally.
Well, I just had a bad night.
That's good.
That was a great movie, by the way, Up in the Air.
Yeah.
He played an Axeman for corporate America, and he'd go around firing people.
Yeah.
David Sachs from the All In podcast. Biden exceeded expectations. His fake Hollywood friends are in shambles tonight. Andrew Bates. To answer the question on everyone's mind, no, Joe Biden does not have a doctorate in foreign affairs. He's just that effing good.
Oh, my God. He's been on the wrong side of foreign policy since 1972 on like every issue.
Jim Hines from Connecticut. Joe Biden's record of public service is unrivaled. His accomplishments are immense. His legacy as a great president is secure.
Uh-oh.
They're all out tonight.
You got it.
They're all out tonight. All right, let's do some, we'll do a little sports, then we'll do some news in an hour or two and change it up, get off of this, but we'll continue to monitor reaction on social media. You said Brian Glenn checked in from Real America's Voice with you, David Zier.
Yeah, just a what up, guys. And he said great coverage. So thank you, Brian. And
I think he's on board that tonight is a good night for Trump.
Think so.
And I don't see how you can't be. You know, if this guy went out there and just totally relapsed the debate and just stared into space and you know, we beat Medicare. I mean, just said things that were just like, I mean, it would probably be over. But tonight, man, he brought it. He brought it.
Well, it was the big boy press conference.
Definitely.
Yeah. And he did such a good boy, Joe.
He brought big boy answers.
Yeah.
All right, so
Jill's giving him
if early voting starts soon and 30 days into early voting and he has a stroke or he bows out, I mean, that's not fair either, right? What does that do?
Well, I mean, God forbid he was to have a stroke. There's not much
or he
you
gets
can do
taken
about
out, 25th Amendment, whatever it is.
Well, Vice President Trump should think about that 25th Amendment. He should think about activating it now.
Well, he did talk about it. He did mention it, I think,
he's the vice president.
in 2019 or 2020.
I think early voting should be limited to a week.
Could move on that right now, Vice President Trump.
Let's go.
Talk to the president of Ukraine there, Putin, and see what he thinks.
Yeah.
Let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. LFS6B is the code to use if you shop at MyPillow. Check out great savings. Slick, what's going on?
All right, Wimbledon. The women's are getting all set here. Jasmine Paolini, Barbara Krejcikova win to reach Wimbledon finals. So ladies finals is set for Saturday. Wimbledon Jasmine Paolini kept coming back against Donna Vekic in what could become the longest Wimbledon women's semifinal on record after dropping the opening set, after being 2 games from defeat in each of the last 2 sets, after twice trailing by a break in the third. And all the while, this is what Paolini kept telling herself Thursday: try point by point and fight for every ball. Paolini never had won a match at the All England Club until last week, and now will participate in her second consecutive Grand Slam final thanks to a rollicking 2-6, 6-4, 7-6, 10-8 victory over the unseeded Vekic across 2 hours, 51 minutes on center court. This match said the number 7 seeded Paolini, who faces number 31 Barbara Krejcikova for the title, I will remember forever. As many of the thousands who were present or the millions watching on TV, it was Paolini who said a roller coaster of emotions. The same could be said for the second semifinal, which lasted 44 fewer minutes, but contained its own share of plot twists as 2021 French Open champion Krejcikova came back to eliminate 2022 Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. Whoever wins Saturday will be the 8th woman to leave the All England Club with the title in the past 8 editions of the tournament. So we will definitely have coverage on that come Monday. But good match there. We'll see what happens with that. And one more quick story. Dave Portnoy criticizes George Clooney for revealing Biden is a vegetable weeks after fundraiser. This is Elizabeth Wiebel of Breitbart. Dave Portnoy, the founder of Barstool Sports, criticized actor George Clooney for releasing an op-ed calling for President Joe Biden to withdraw from the presidential race weeks after holding a fundraiser for Biden. Now, he may have changed his tune tonight, Big D, after what we just saw. So we don't know. We'll have to wait for a revised update. today. This story was actually from late yesterday. In a video posted to X, Portnoy slammed Clooney for releasing an op-ed in the New York Times stating that Biden, whom he held the star-studded fundraiser for 3 weeks ago, was the same man at his party as Americans had witnessed at the debate on June 27th against former President Donald Trump. The Hollywood fundraiser, which also featured actress Julia Roberts and late-night talk show Jimmy Kimmel, raised more than $30 million for the Biden campaign, according to ABC News. Portnoy described Biden as being a vegetable and went on to mock Clooney for just now coming out with this information. George Clooney, what a bleeping hero the guy is, Portnoy began, comes forward today. Now, this guy Clooney, through a fundraiser, raised tens of millions co-chair for Biden 3 weeks ago. Today, he comes out like he's, guess what? The guy you saw in the debate, that vegetable, that's bleeping Biden. He's a vegetable. He was a vegetable 3 weeks ago. Portnoy continued to criticize Clooney for acting as if he was doing some heroic thing by implying that a presidential candidate is seemingly a vegetable state could not run for the president. So anyway, Clooney getting his vegetables, and hopefully he had his beef as well. But that's a wrap in sports, Big D. Dave Portnoy speaking out on Joe Biden. But like I said, he could be changing his tune come tomorrow on his show. Who knows?
Who?
Portnoy.
No, he's not changing any tune.
You don't think?
He's all in on Trump.
Damon,
no,
Brian.
As far as Biden being clear and being ready to run.
Yeah. Brian Glenn just texted, they just canceled the reservation with visiting angels.
Exactly. They bought themselves at least in a couple days. You got to push that reservation off, man. Come on. Anyway, the idea that I need to go to visiting angels. All right, Slick. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell, My Pillow. We'll do some news when we get back. If you're on social, stay with us. YouTube, 700 people watching, 150 likes. Not good. Let's get it up.
Air Force vet says big boy uses pull-ups, not diapers.
All right, let's go check on Facebook. How many, what do we got? 1,300 comments, 312 reactions. All right, Facebook audience is doing a pretty good job. We got 300 people watching and 1,300 comments. That's good, active. YouTube, we got to get the thumbs up going. Come on. 1,600 people on X. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow at LFS6B on X if you're watching there.
Somebody just posted I guess, Vice President Trump Kamala mash of a photo.
I saw that picture.
Yes. Very funny.
Clarity Pickett on Facebook. We're all here, Damon. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow the Facebook page.
Only a tenth of our Rumblers have hit the thumbs up so far. That's not good.
What?
Only
What?
a tenth.
A tenth? That's worse than
46
Facebook.
out of 468.
Wow.
Yeah, and we have, you're on the Real America's Voice Rumble or live from Studio 6B?
The LFS6B one.
I should probably get news ready. Holy moly!
We have 4,600 people checked in on the RAV Rumble. Pretty much since we've been broadcasting, I think. Or since
Eileen
the presser.
Phillips, hello from Nebraska. Barbara Knight on Facebook, best 2 hours of the day. Thank you very much.
What's up, Ruby, Gary, Moon Pie, Buckeye, Drag Blacker. Yep, and Drag Blacker reminded us Japan annexed
Tell Big
Korea.
D we'll hit the thumbs up if you start reading the comments. What do you mean? I'm reading all the I'm reading them as much as I can, as fast.
I think they want to hear them out loud. Got to read them out loud.
I can't read every one. I'm trying to catch some ones that are catch my attention. Live from Studio 6B, Hour 2 on a Thursday night. Glad you're in. Slick Rick's doing sports. Delgado's going to do some news. What even is that? Now, I thought What Even Is That was for tonight.
No. Remember I said last night I'm going to send it to you early?
No. You did send it to me, and I rushed to get it done today because I thought it was for tonight.
No.
For tomorrow.
It's for tomorrow. I told you I was excited because I got it done early, and I'll send it to you early.
Mm-hmm. Now you have time to make it better.
Gooder. Make it gooder.
Wow.
It's the goodest,
Fran,
What Even Is That I've ever read.
Fran, you and I aren't friends right now.
What was the tease on it? What is it? What is the teaser for?
Well, Delgado sends me things for it, then I go.
Right.
He sends me like stuff for it, and then I put it together, and then there's stuff that he doesn't use in it. It's like I don't even know what to do. So now I started a folder for Erin. It's called Unused. So that if you want to tell her where it's supposed to be, because you send me things that are not even in it.
Well, now I got to see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's useless.
There's some confusion. Sorry about
Dementia Joe picture, not there.
Sorry about
No idea.
Dementia Joe didn't make it?
No.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I got to send it.
Forgot.
But Feeding Frenzy was a good, that was a good, whatever. Tease.
Hint.
Yes.
Tease. They call it
I thought maybe it was a Jimmy Buffett song.
No.
But it was not.
No.
But I think it's going to be a big hit.
Really?
I hope so.
Look, it's going to definitely be a big hit for you, if for nothing other than the last clip.
Oh, okay. I can't wait.
Right?
Oh, God.
Yes.
Could be.
So, Slick, you'll like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess
I'm in a naked hammer clip?
You'll just have to. No, I didn't say that.
I better not be.
You'll have to just tune in to see if there's any shots at Big D taking.
Oh.
As most of you who watch all these What Even Is That's know that
I don't know what you're talking about.
running theme. Whether it's me and the bull or the bull in the car or
You as a bumble
Oh, yeah.
or as a
so
giant.
that'll be tomorrow night. What Even Is That?
Okay.
9 o'clock. Stay tuned for that. Next week, RNC convention all week long. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The great David Zier will be out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee.
Harry on the highway is already there.
Yeah.
Rav on the ground, setting up.
Oh, you know what I forgot to mention? We were talking about doing a calendar this year. And Erin getting her own month. And David Zier getting his own month, his
red scarf,
Hunter
only?
Biden-like outfit. Yes.
Glasses. Yep.
People were asking about Harry. If Harry's going to get a month.
Harry.
Harry.
I mean, Harry has to be in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could have him driving a convertible in the desert.
Right.
On the highway.
Yeah, well, no, Harry's got to. I mean, Harry's definitely got to be in it. So if there's the four of us, Erin, and I guess Fran's out, Harry.
Fran's going to be sick that
What
day.
do we got? We got a front cover, back cover in 12 months. We got 14 pictures. Slick's going to take up most of them.
Mm-hmm. Now
we have enough. We have enough for everybody to.
Yeah.
Now, do we have to actually, like, our month is shared with, like, we're sharing a month with Slick because it's his calendar. So does he make an appearance on our photos?
Well, I don't know. We'd have to. Is it going to be that way, or is it going to be an LFS6B
Listen,
calendar?
I'm not laying down on a baskin rug with you. I'm just letting you know, all right?
Why would your mind even go there? That's what I want to know.
Well, that's what he was hoping for.
It's unbearable.
Right.
There should definitely be an odds makers month, though. Maybe
Yeah.
September. Me, Slick, and Damon.
Ooh, maybe we should shoot it up at Mohegan Sun in the sports book.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Think we could get permission for that?
No.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Dude, we buy our own pizza here. You're now taking trips for photo shoots? What the hell happened?
Whoa. His budget opened
Well,
up.
relax, Delgado. I mean, yeah, exactly.
We got any water in the refrigerator?
We're going to sell a lot of My Pillows this month, and people are going to use code LFS6B, and then that's what we're going to do. So, anyways, I don't know how we got on this, but what even is that tomorrow night at 9 o'clock? David Zero will be in Milwaukee for the RNC convention, which we'll be covering all next week here on the show. You got to follow us on all our socials because next week I don't know when we'll be on the network. So that's mine.
Sounded like a NORAD
But the
alert.
network will be covering the network will be covering the convention all week long. So make sure you lock it in. So, all right, let's do some news. We haven't done any news, and the news is brought to you by 7 Cells, 7cells.com, and here with that is Rick Delgado.
I don't know. I thought the first hour was pretty news-filled, but I guess we could continue on. This one coming on the heels of what you just saw, the big boy press conference from President Biden. Breaking, this coming from the National Pulse, ranking House Dem on Intel Committee tells Biden to step away from the campaign. Believe it or not. This is coming from Representative Jim Hines out of Connecticut. He's called on President Joe to step away from his presidential campaign in remarks released immediately after the 46th president's post-NATO press conference. So even after what he just saw, he still says, yeah, not good enough. Himes is saying you got to leave. Himes, who has been reported to have privately urged Biden to step away from the campaign, went public with his thoughts, stating President Joe Biden is a remarkable leader of unparalleled public service, undeniable achievement, and unconditional patriotism. His administration created a historic job growth, blah, 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 blah. It's an honor of my career and to work with him, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. It is because of those traits and consideration of that legacy that I hope President Biden will step away from the presidential campaign. The 2024 election will define the future of American democracy, and we must put forth the strongest candidate possible to confront the threat posed by that evildoer President Trump, as he's promised MAGA authoritarianism. This guy Hines sounds like a real pip. I no longer believe in Joe Biden, and I hope that as he has throughout his lifetime of public service, he will continue to put our nation first, as he promised, make way for a new generation of leaders. So there you have it. Even after the flawless
performance,
yes, the sterling performance.
So we should have a segment called "Write the Headline Tomorrow," right? And tomorrow's headline: Jim Heim walks back his statement on Joe Biden after
because
performance.
This came out. Even though this came out
when did
right
that
after.
Come out? After the presser?
After the presser.
I didn't know that.
So even though he thought, okay, it came out right after
the New York Times before the presser doubled down and said that insiders in the White House outside of Joe Biden's immediate circle are asking for Joe Biden to step down.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you have that coming from
a little schism.
From Himes out of Connecticut, and then you've got James Comer promising that Congress will subpoena Joe Biden's doctor, to seek record of medical visits outside of the White House. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer vows to subpoena the White House physician if he does not volunteer information to Congress and to compel the release of information on any other medical visits President Biden has attended outside the presidential mansion. I mean, tonight we found out about his broken foot. We never knew he had a broken foot.
Oh.
And that he avoided wearing a boot.
Okay, so yesterday at the NATO summit, people said he didn't know who major people were,
right,
and had no confidence in him.
Yes,
he screws up Zelensky and Putin
right.
today. So what did he take before this presser that he was so sharp? He was coherent.
He was coherent.
So what happened?
He got a good night's sleep.
Yeah, during the day today.
No, I think the word "sharp" might be.
For him,
yeah.
For him in the last 8 months,
a little too much,
because he hasn't done any pressers like that this year, right? Isn't this the first one?
And he did have that moment of anger during the press conference.
He did,
right, where he just started yelling for no reason. It was like somebody flipped the switch and he got angry.
Which I don't even think that the stat he said is even true.
No, it's not.
No, it's made up.
What about his popularity?
Abortion
in Israel?
numbers. Abortion numbers have to outweigh gun violence, don't they?
Well, there's millions of abortions every year. And in Israel, last year, Biden was popular, but not after October 7th. I don't think those numbers are the same now.
Anyhow, so according to Comer, he says after President Biden's shocking appearance at the first presidential debate, it has become the number one issue in America, and he looks forward to subpoenaing the doctor, the White House physician, to, again, if he doesn't volunteer the information, he's going to get him in there, drag him in, and make sure that he answers some important questions. Yeah, so there you have it. And then you've got this from Chuck Todd. I don't know, did you hear about Chuck Todd and his admission about Joe Biden?
I mean, here's the thing before you get to that story. I know I saw it. This is a guy who was the host of the most watched, and that's not saying much, Sunday show for how many years? And how many years of this presidency? At least, two of them?
Yeah.
But now, all of a sudden, again, it's another Helen Keller guy who just all of a sudden found his site. He's just all on the... It's laughable.
But Damon, the left, ever since Rush Limbaugh pointed out 40 years ago, the left has their talking points on the Sunday shows. They're like art imitating life, imitating art, imitating life. They always have a plan. So maybe this is all part of a grand plan to slowly get rid of him.
Yeah, according to this, NBC's chief political analyst Chuck Todd has revealed that a senior member, they never give the names, of Joe Biden's cabinet told him 2 years ago that they had serious concerns about President Biden running again. The former Meet the Press host says he sees no evidence Biden can serve 4 more years, and he mentioned that on his podcast on Tuesday. And here is that clip. Check it out for yourself. This is Chuck Todd, cut number 5.
I'm not going to out the cabinet secretary.
Right.
But I had a cabinet secretary 2 years ago.
Right.
Okay. 2 years ago. All out of the blue, ask me, do you really think he can't run again like this? And I said, well, you have more interaction with him than I do. And they said, I don't have a lot of interaction with him. This is a pretty senior cabinet secretary. So, and this was 2 years ago. This is one of those, it's the classic open secrets, a non-versation, right? It's the story everybody knows and everybody.
That you didn't report on.
I was going to say, did you sound the alarm on your very fine Sunday show there, Chuck? Of course not.
That's the amazing thing. These guys is sitting there like they're the next Woodward and Bernstein now. But meanwhile, they knew all this, and they kept it to themselves. Why? Because it was in their best interest, because this is the party they support. And now they're trying to act like we're the heroes. Look at us. We're exposing this. We can't let this guy continue on. He's a danger to himself. He's too old. He doesn't know anything. He's useless.
Yeah.
He's basically it comes down to Joe Biden is useless to the left now. So they got to get rid of him.
Yeah. Well, not after tonight. He's not.
Damon, maybe there is a real mini civil war going on within.
Oh, there is.
There are a lot. This is from one of Biden's biggest young supporters, this little wussy Harry Sisson kid. There are a lot of people who owe President Biden an apology right now.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Really?
I told you.
Yep.
David Sachs, I agree. Hang on, Joe. And that's what we should all be saying. Come on, Joe. Hang on. Bring it across the finish line.
Come on, November 5th, baby.
Get to the nomination.
And then I got the story that I'll get to later, the Obama bros ganging up on Biden. So, again, you see the division in the Democratic Party. It's wonderful to watch them just cannibalize themselves.
David Axelrod. Now, David Axelrod's been pretty tough.
Yeah.
David Axelrod, as of an hour ago. The wisdom of doing this press conference at NATO is now clear. Shaky on some stuff, but President of the United States is very comfortable on national security issues. Oh, how they changed their tune. All right, more news with David Sear, Sports with Slick, all coming up. Who is this? Charlotte Clymer. So far, this has been an incredibly solid presser. The president sounds confident and in command. You can sense disappointment over that in some quarters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, their own party.
Hey, you want to try to see if Brian Glenn wants to join us on Skype?
Yeah.
Get his reaction? If he's available. Don't...
Send me the info if you get it.
Do we have his Skype?
I don't have it now.
Okay. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. All right, what's going on in the chat? Big D, over 370 now. I'm assuming that means somebody on YouTube. That's good. Keep hitting the likes. Thumbs up.
Oh, you also have a new read tonight.
Oh, okay. Is that now?
Yeah, it should be, yeah.
All righty.
All right, I asked them. Robbie Starbuck. Love Robbie Starbuck. He says, Zelensky needs that money so much, I bet he's going to say he changed his name to Putin.
Putin on the Ritz.
What is P?
It's Patriot Mobile, but there was a new one that was sent. I just forwarded it to you.
No, I got it. Yep, I have it. No problem.
Whoa. What's going on here?
Who put that there?
What's going on?
All right, 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let me talk to you about our friends over at Patriot Mobile. Americans are tired and frustrated by a stalling economy, inflation, endless wars, and the relentless assault on the values that made America great. Thankfully, there's companies like Patriot Mobile that still believe in America and believe in our Constitution. Patriot Mobile is a proud supporter of RAV and this network, and they were proud to partner with them. They're on the front lines fighting for the First and Second Amendments, the sanctity of life, supporting our military and first responder heroes. Support conservative causes and put America first with every call that you make, all while getting the same nationwide coverage as the major providers. Patriot Mobile has all three networks, and it's why they can back their service with a coverage guarantee. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team will help you find the best plan for your needs. You can keep your number, keep your phone, or you can upgrade. Just go to patriotmobile.com/RAV, patriotmobile.com/RAV, or you can call 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT. Get a free month. What? Get a free month when you use the offer code RAV, R-A-V, today. Don't be fooled by other providers pretending to share your values. Join us in supporting the only one that actually lives by them. Go to patriotmobile.com/RAV, patriotmobile.com/RAV, or call 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT for a free month by using promo code RAV today. All right, 18 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night. I want to remind you again, all next week, RAV, wall-to-wall coverage. Best coverage in the business is going to be out at the RNC in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Harry on the Highway and the crew is already there, setting up what's going to be just a fantastic setup, and just everything is going to be all first class. RAV, the only way to do it. Make sure you lock in all next week, wall-to-wall coverage, every show. We'll be covering it. All the speeches. We'll be on live 8 to 10 each and every night, whether it's on the network or on socials, depending on what we're covering from the debate, from the convention floor. But we'll have it for you, multiple places. It'll be the best coverage out there. Make sure you lock it in. David Zier will be out there as well. Let's do some news right now with David Zier, the host of Breaking Point, 8 a.m. right here at Saturday mornings. Mr. Zier, what's going on?
An incredible day today all around. Joy Reid, The Gift That Keeps on Giving, cut number 10. I believe this is on Project 2025.
Look, my kids are grown adults, but do you feel comfortable having your babies handed over to the military-industrial complex so King Trump can use and discard them like old shell casings? Maybe sign them up to use on American streets to shoot protesters because he's promised to do that.
They're all unhinged. This comes with a wave of criticism over 2025, Project 2025, which is the Heritage Foundation is a think tank. There's a lot of left-wing think tanks. There's people on the right. Heritage Foundation's been doing this for many years. I remember at 15 years old, I bought the Mandate for Leadership, which is like the blueprint for Project 2025. It doesn't mean that Trump agrees with everything in there. Here's The View on Project 2025 today. Cut number 8, more people unhinged.
Transparency, no matter who the commander-in-chief is, and we should have a consistency of respecting the free press for doing their job regardless of who the commander-in-chief is.
Well, to Anna's point, there was no consistency in the Trump administration because they weren't releasing the logs. So that,
we're being gaslit by the Biden administration every day.
Is very, very, very different. But I will say this.
What?
I don't like that George Clooney did this. I don't like that George Clooney aired this dirty laundry to the world. I think that these conversations are happening. I think they should be happening because our democracy is at stake. But they should be happening privately with the commander-in-chief, who we should have the utmost respect for. And that goes for all of this.
The clapping seals.
Right. This is a man who saved the soul of our country. And this is a man who has a record that he can stand on. I will also say this. What the media is not talking about is the Republican platform. Let's reframe this discussion. Why are we just talking about Trump versus Biden? Let's talk about Project 2025, the Republican platform, and then let's talk about the Democratic platform. That is what this needs to be framed as.
What do you guys watch? I don't know what news you guys watch. I see Project 2025 talked about constantly.
We're not talking about it.
We talk about it here. I've traveled the country talking about it.
And it gets worse. Then you got
so unwatchable.
Cut number 9.
It really is. I mean,
Congresswoman.
I don't even know what they're talking about.
Me neither.
Congresswoman Summer Lee, one of the squad in Pennsylvania, is just the worst. Check out cut number 9.
Hypotheticals. It is under attack right now, right here with this very bill. Republicans want to throw up barriers because when people vote, they lose. Let me be clear. They don't want you to vote. They don't want to hear black voices, brown voices, LGBTQIA voices, young voices.
Whatever.
Our fundamental access to our democracy is being politicized. And this xenophobic attack that we're debating today will make it harder for Americans to vote. My Republican colleagues will claim that requiring IDs is a small ask, but nearly 30 million people lack a valid driver's license, and about 15 to 18 million adults don't have access to documents proving their birth or citizenship. Americans don't need more obstacles. It's already hard enough. That's why I'm
Yeah, they're all unhinged. And Damon, I just got one more clip for now. Cut number 11.
That was in regards to the SAVE Act, by the way.
It was the SAVE Act, but it's all connected. These people,
which the Democrats blocked in the Senate after the House passed it.
Yep. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And I just have cut number 11. I sat down with Trevor Loudon. Go to trevorloudon.com. He's got great documentaries, great books. The Enemies Within. He exposes the deep state, everything you want to know about communism, Marxism around the globe. That's cut number 11. Now, when you say that Marxism is a product of envy, what do you mean?
Well, Marxism, we're told not to envy. It's one of the 10 commandments. Do not envy, because that leads to a very deep personality crisis and leads to horrible things. But the whole system of Marxism is built on envy. He's got more than me. That means he must have ripped me off. Therefore, I deserve his stuff. Or, I'm an oppressed person of color. Whitey has got more than me, so therefore Whitey must be suppressing me. Women, well, why do men get paid more than me? They must be ripping me off. I deserve their stuff. This is all.
Well, that's the politics of fear.
Politics of envy.
Cloward Piven, create
look,
the disruption.
Yeah, but this is Lenin. This is Marx. Communism all is about creating resentment and getting the oppressed, whether it's oppressed people of a certain gender, a certain sexual orientation, a certain color, or a certain social class, to resent everybody else. And work
we could
to
come out of that. I just
those
wanted
who
to
they feel are oppressing them.
Tease Breaking Point this weekend, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And Rick Delgado, I did some more research on the voting patterns of married couples. Married men voted for Republicans 20% more than they did for Democrats. Single men also favored GOP candidates on the ballot by a much slimmer margin of 7%, according to CNN exit polls from 2022. The same exit polls also showed married women favored the GOP by 14%. Unmarried women, however, sided with Democrats a whopping 37% more than they did Republicans. And Brad Wilcox, a UVA professor, says the Republican Party is the party of the married, increasingly unmarried men. And the Democratic Party is the party of unmarried women. And there was just one more thing here about married and unmarried voters. You asked me last night that they're almost mirror images of one another. 58% of married voters supported GOP House candidates, while 59% of unmarried respondents voted Democrat. But married men and women did not differ significantly from one another. 59% of married men and 56% of married women voted for GOP. But there was a bigger gap in the unmarried category. A bare majority of unmarried men, 52% voted for GOP candidates, and only 31% of unmarried women did.
All right, 26 past the hour, live from Studio 6B Sports with Slick, News with Delgado. Coming up when we get back right after this.
Married couples and unmarried couples kind of vote similarly,
right?
But there's a little bit of a disparity. %3 difference among married men and women for Republicans, but in unmarried couples, there's a 19% disparity between men and women on how they voted.
Here's a good one. If you watch Biden's press conference tonight, you must be like, oh, right. Thank goodness he's president. He understands how the whole world fits together and where it needs to go.
Oh, yeah. Joe's got a direction.
How quickly it changes. Maria Cardona on CNN. Now, she was one of the ones the other night after the presser, almost crying on set. President Biden looks good, sounds great, strong, confident. Few flubs.
Confident?
He's been a gaffe machine his whole life. In commando of the facts. Policy wonk indeed. Showing strength on the world stage. I'm telling you. Unbelievable. They are going to allow this night tonight to walk right into letting him stay right there. Which is as good as we could hope for.
How's Harry doing? Is he all set up there, or are they still working?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're all set up by now.
Said security's very tight.
I don't know how you kill time in Milwaukee. That city's kind of cool.
They got a vibrant nightlife.
Yeah, First Serve Arena there.
Downtown, they got a lot of brat places and German food and
nice brats.
A lot of beer gardens.
I can go for a nice brat there.
Big brewery city.
Yeah, I was there years ago, many years ago.
It's nice. You just got to stay. You can't stray because there's.
Oh, that's any city
on the north side, high crime and.
Yeah, any city's that way.
I was talking to my friend in Alabama.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B, Thursday night, Real America's Voice. Let's do some sports and news here. We'll start with sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Use our code LFS6B if you shop there. Great savings. Great stuff from Lindell. Support Lindell. Support the show. Use our code. And, of course, if you do, send us your receipt. We'll send you the shirt of the month absolutely free. Just tell us the size. And I don't think there's a color on the Trump 2024 election shirt. I think it's just white, but we'll give us your size and we'll send it out. Slick Rick, what's going on?
All right, big deal. Over to the scoreboard. The Genesis Scottish Open kicked off earlier today. Round 1, play complete, $9 million purse, and this is at the Renaissance Club in North Berwick. Justin Thomas shot an 8 under today to lead everyone, and again, we'll keep you up to date tomorrow night as well as that pursues on. Major League Baseball right now, the Tampa Bay Rays over the Yankees, 5-3, bottom of the 8th. Top of the 9th, the Red Sox blanking the A's 7-0. End of 4, Astros over the Marlins 5-2. Tigers just pounded the Guardians 10-1 earlier today. That's a final. Cincinnati Reds over the Colorado Rockies 8-1. Mets down the Nationals 7-0 today, and the Pirates blanked the Brewers 1-0 in Milwaukee. I wonder if Harry saw that game today. Blue Jays 5-3 over the Giants. Phillies 5-1 over the Dodgers. Cubs blanked the Orioles 8-0, and Mariners at the Angels. That's coming up at 9:38 first pitch, and the Braves are in Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks at 9:40. Coaching legend Monty Kiffin, Lane's father, dies at 84. Kiffin coached at 7 schools and for 8 NFL teams. Ryan Morick of Fox News, this just broke a few minutes ago. Monty Kiffin, the coaching legend and father of Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin, has died at the age of 84. Monty, credited as the mastermind of the Tampa 2 defensive scheme. Football fans will recall that coverage. Had been working alongside his son as a player personnel analyst. As his grandson Knox said, he's free of pain and smiling down on us from above. Please keep the Kiffin family in your thoughts and prayers during this time, Ole Miss said in a statement. Kiffin coached at 7 universities and with 8 NFL teams throughout his nearly 6-decade career. His first job was as a graduate assistant with the University of Nebraska. He was the defensive coordinator when the Cornhuskers won back-to-back national championships in 70 and 71. After serving as Arkansas's defensive coordinator from 77 to 79, he got his first start and only head coaching job at NC State, going 16-17 in 3 seasons there. He made the jump to the NFL following the year and jumped around NFL circles until going back to the college ranks in 2009. Monty Kiffin was a beloved and iconic member of the Buccaneers family, and our entire organization mourns his loss today. When Kiffin found the NFL success as defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for their 2003 Super Bowl victory, and he's in their Ring of Honor. Kiffin's last NFL gig was back in 2016 when he served as a defensive assistant for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So sad news there for the Kiffin family, and Monty Kiffin, well-known name in the NFL world. So, a little lighter note. George Kittle says he texted Travis Kelce to use Taylor Swift's bathroom during Christian McCaffrey's wedding. This is Swift owns a home next to the wedding venue. Ryan Morick, Fox News. Another megastar was also associated with the McCaffrey-Colpo wedding. San Francisco 49er running back Christian McCaffrey married former Miss Universe Olivia Colpo June 29th, and the stars are out. Current and former NFL Pro Bowlers like Greg Olsen, Luke Kuechly, Brock Purdy and George Kittle attended the wedding in Rhode Island, which happened to be near one of Taylor Swift's homes. Knowing this, Kittle tried his best to get into the home and sought the help of a boyfriend, Travis Kelce. Kittle said he texted Kelce asking if there was a way he could get into the home to use the bathroom during the wedding. So we were out in Rhode Island for the wedding, right? Next to this place we stayed was Taylor Swift's house, and I texted Travis. I was like, hey, I need to use the restroom. Do you mind? Did Taylor leave a key anywhere? He told the Rich Eisen show. He's like, you can try to get in, but I think security is going to get you out of there. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to even try that one. Kittle also claimed he has not asked Kelce for tickets to the Eras tour. So cute little story there. But anyway, Big D, that's a wrap in sports. I'm going to throw it back to you.
All right, Slick. There's no other sports stories after that one?
Well, I could talk about Bronny James. Bronny James ain't doing too well. Well, boy, he's a real dud so far. You called that one,
no
right?
surprise there.
Yeah, no surprise. Yeah. Well, Dad had some pull. That kid's not even going to see the court. No way. That's a wrap.
All right, sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. LFS6B is the code to use. Let's do some news, and Rick Delgado's got it. Now, Joy Reid said tonight, after watching Biden's presser, this does not sound like a man that's thinking about getting out. Biden said something tonight, by the way. He said there's been presidents who have had worse numbers.
Yes.
That's no way. Somebody's got to fact check that.
Yeah.
Because if who has worse number? He's like at 28%, 31% or something like that. I don't think that's true. Do you?
No.
No.
I don't think
There's no way that's true.
I got the Gallup Presidential Historical Statistics up. I'll let you know what I find.
All right, let's do the news. Delgado, what's going on?
All right. Well, things got a little dicey for everybody's favorite Rolling Stones band. The lead singer, Mick Jagger. I don't know if you caught this story, Damon. Doing a show in Canada, Mick decided to show his support for Justin Trudeau. Sadly, I guess he's not reading the room. Usually the elites don't know what real people think. Mick Jagger found out the hard way and quickly switched the topic. Check this out. This is cut number 2. You got to see it to believe it.
I mean, we love your Mr. Trudeau. I mean, his family's always been such big fans of our band.
Good job, Mick.
I didn't see that coming.
By the way, congratulations on the Canadian soccer team getting to the semi-final.
Oh, there he goes. Whew.
Set me up.
Yeah, I saw that.
How old is Mick? Like 90?
Water out of when we have water bottles out of
82,
plastic. Away from plastic towards paper, like drink box water bottles, sort of things.
Yeah,
those booze were incredible. It's amazing. For Canada,
from Canadians who you can tell Justin Trudeau's kind of worn out his welcome north of the border there.
My mother's in her 80s and just drove to the Rolling Stones concert about 6 weeks ago. She said it was great.
Did she? Was she booing Mick when he mentioned Justin?
Well,
Trudeau?
I don't think he got into that in Jersey.
All right.
Could have been a riot.
Hey, I know you were talking last night, David, about the different breakdown when it comes to different demographics for voters in the Democratic Party. Black voters now supporting Donald Trump. I think the number's up 20%.
Yeah.
Joe Biden has fallen from 90 to 70%, with 10% still undecided. And Hispanics are almost dead even, cut in half at this point. Daily Show decided, let's do our own focus group here, and with some black voters, and let's see how badly this can backfire in our face. This is cut number 1. Check this out.
Wow.
Okay, so who will you be voting for in 2024? Daryl. Do I have to say his name? I don't want to, but more than likely it's going to be Trump.
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Biden.
And then Victor?
Biden. With her.
Oh, Biden, okay.
Trump.
Eric Trump? Biden. Biden?
Trump.
Okay, we're an even split, which I didn't see that coming. So do you think there's going to be a big shift, any sort of change?
I think it's going to be a big shift. Me too.
Big shift?
Yes. Big
really? Okay.
For me, I've always been a Democrat, and it's like for the most part with the Democratic Party, they always make a bunch of promises that they can't deliver.
You know, they use the issues of the African American community as a soapbox to stand on and make promises, just to get us to come out and vote. And then once we vote and everyone's in place, it's like, well, what happened?
Yeah. A little truth, a little reality hitting the Daily Show right in the face there with their little focus group.
Yeah, I think they're right on. On Saturday night, I'm hosting an event at the America First Warehouse at the Mordecai Mission, and Pastor William Green, and he's one of these pastors I flew in from cities around the United States in the black community, shift coming, and the focus is to be on saving America, restoring America's foundational Judeo-Christian principles and greatness, but and the shift in the black vote. So that I think there is.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting dynamic as we get closer and closer to the election. And we were talking about this earlier, and it was brought up during the press conference. Is it too late for the DNC delegates to abandon Biden? This is the title of this, the story coming out of Fox News. According to this, we were talking about the delegates. Now, Joe Biden says the delegates can vote for whoever they want. He knows that's not true. That's not the way, or maybe he doesn't know at this point. At the convention, a candidate must win support according to their own rules from a majority of the party's nearly 4,000 delegates, the party officials who formally select the nominees. Delegates are distributed to candidates based on the results of the primary elections in each state. Then, of course, Joe Biden won every state, so he's got those pledged. They're called pledged delegates. Now, pledged delegates have to vote for whichever candidate in their party won the primary or caucus in that respective state, while unpledged delegates, which we all know now are known as superdelegates, currently elected officials and party leaders can support any candidate they choose. A total of 1,976 delegates are needed to clinch the Democratic nomination for president, and Biden has won roughly 3,900 this year. Those delegates have pledged support to Biden's candidacy. So basically, there is no they can vote for whoever they want option, at least in the first round. He only needs 1976. He's got more than 2,000 past that, or roughly 2,000 past that, in the bank, so to speak. So we'll see what happens, but it's really a non-story when it comes to, selecting the nominee for the Democratic ticket. According to their own process, they have to vote for Joe Biden.
So, having said that, then,
yes,
if Joe Biden makes it 10 days to the 21st and gets the virtual nomination, what are you saying?
He gets the nomination. I'm not saying they won't remove him.
Well, how will they do that?
It actually becomes a little easier to remove him once he has a nomination.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're saying it can't happen at the convention, though, obviously.
It could happen at the convention. I don't. After tonight, probably not. But you never know.
A week or two. Yeah.
In theory, it could happen.
If something else happens between now and then, that they might open it up and say, nope, we want a contested convention, and then I guess the rules change.
You notice that Biden even brought up the money raised, $220 million in the bank that he knows can't go to anybody else.
Yep.
Brought up the delegates that he has, 3,000, whatever. No, he took some of these things straight on tonight. I love people in the chat. Damon's a big Biden supporter now.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, come on.
Well, he is.
I'm a supporter of him getting the nomination for sure.
So he can get crushed.
You actually just want him to stay. You want him to stay through November because you want to win the bet
of 2028.
I don't even care about the bet. I want to win the election.
Yeah,
that's what I want, and I think Trump trounces him.
Yeah,
and I think if they were to go to Gretchen Whitmer and the governor of Maryland, we'd be it'd be a whole different thing.
I don't know about that, Gretchen Whitmer. Really?
No, she's
a disaster.
Go to the guy from Kentucky and the governor of Maryland.
Nobody knows him. They don't have
Andy
national
Beshear
recognition.
And the guy
That's
from
the problem.
Maryland, you'd have an energized Democrat ticket that we would not be wanting to deal with. Keep this guy on the ticket.
That's the ticket. 888-303-1957.
On what platform?
On Getter. What else is there?
Missy on Getter says I'm a Biden supporter.
Well, she says, that's what it sounds like. Right. Give me a break. Yes, you do, Damon. You were just denying that you were a Biden supporter.
No, of course.
I think Vice President Trump has been trending on X.
Biden DeSantis. He wants the Biden DeSantis ticket.
It just keeps going.
Damon's on the Biden DeSantis train.
It just keeps going.
I just got two things if you need filler.
The hell we doing?
That was what he was talking about, the guns?
Yeah.
Buck Sexton says, amazing for the President of the United States to hold a press conference where not a single person watching cares what he says, only whether he can actually say things.
It's true. That's a good one right there. That sums it all up. He's exactly right.
That is a good one right there.
I might show my sketches with you tonight, Rick.
Oh, yeah? Heard they're sketchy.
Oh, man.
David, you're being accused of supporting Biden more than the own X chat.
Supporting Biden more than what?
Your own X chat.
Come on, man.
See, you're even using his
I'm
his
getting
phrases.
to be like Biden. I'm getting tired at like 9 o'clock. I need to move the show back, I think.
They're thinking about Biden.
Morning.
You want to start it an hour early so people can get home?
Instead of doing that at 8, let's start it at 7 so people can go home at 9.
My friend Dick Sears from...
I'm sorry. Sorry, your friend who?
Who?
Dick Sears. I met him at the Greek Island Diner in Miller Place or in Shoreham. He loves LFS6B, and he watches us all the time. Very nice guy. Wants to go golfing.
Let's do it.
He said, no worries. Dr. Jill will drag Joe across the convention finish line by hook or by crook.
I agree with Dick. All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night, Real America's Voice. So, Peter Barry Chowka, I believe is how you pronounce it, in the American Thinker today. Headline, J.D. Vance will be Trump's VP choice according to a highly placed, reliable source in the former president's orbit. A reliable source who I have known for more than 5 years and who enjoys unique access to former President Donald Trump's thinking told me in confidence on Tuesday that Mr. Trump has decided on J.D. Vance as his vice presidential running mate. Vance, 39, is in his first term as the junior senator from Ohio. He has been widely mentioned recently as one of the 3 top possibilities for President Trump's running mate this year. The other 2 leading candidates are Douglas Burgum, 67, a wealthy entrepreneur, has been the governor of North Dakota since 2016, and Senator Marco Rubio, 53, the senior senator from Florida, who has served in that legislative body since 2011. In a live telephone interview with Fox News Television and radio host Brian Kilmeade on Kilmeade's nationally syndicated radio show on Wednesday, Trump hinted that Vance might be acceptable even though he has facial hair that Trump reportedly disapproves of.
Compared up to Abe Lincoln.
Oh, really?
As ABC noted, after dispatches circulated about Trump's reported disdain for facial hair, which campaign advisors poked fun at, Trump dismissed the idea that Vance's facial hair would complicate his chances of earning the number 2 spot. Said, looks like a young Abraham Lincoln. CNN reported on July 11th at 3 a.m. Eastern Time that Trump may be disinclined to select Governor Burgum because of the latter's stand on prohibiting abortion. Last year, Burgum signed a law in North Dakota banning almost all abortions. Trump lately has been moving more to the center left on the delicate issue of abortion rights in an attempt to broaden his appeal to women and independent voters, many of whom are hung up on the issue of a number of state abortion bans in the wake of the Supreme Court's decision tossing out Roe v. Wade. Kilmeade asked Trump about Burgum and his positions on abortion on Wednesday, and Trump said, well, it's a little bit of an issue. It's a pretty strong ban, he put in place. I think Doug is great, but it's a strong ban. He's taken a very strong stance, or the state has. I don't know if it's Doug, but the state has. So it's sort of an issue, which I guess in itself is,
is an issue.
Is an issue. We're moving left on this, I guess. According to media reports, Trump's choice for VP running mate will be announced at the latest on Monday morning, July 15th, the opening day of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. If the choice is in fact J.D. Vance, you can say you heard it here first at the American Thinker. If someone else is selected, well, mea culpa. So, I don't know. Obviously we've heard Vance's name thrown around a lot, but there you go. Somebody actually putting it on the record saying that they've heard from a high source inside the Trump campaign that J.D. Vance is going to be the choice.
I don't know. I still have doubts on that.
Wow.
I feel like we're all being hoodwinked.
Yeah.
And that there's going to be someone we're not talking about. Maybe someone we thought about, maybe somebody we thought might be a good choice, but not somebody that is widely considered the favorite.
Yeah. Maybe Dana White.
Dana White is going to be the last speaker before he's going to introduce President Trump on Thursday night.
Yeah. Pretty big, right? And they did a poll, and they said a lot of people approved that, like 69, almost 70% that were polled thought that was a great choice for President Trump.
It's gonna be epic.
They both relate to the people. That's really what it comes down to.
Sure, the working Joe.
Yep.
Kate Bedingfield from inside the White House tonight. Tonight, Joe Biden offered a lengthy, detailed dive on the major national security issues that he's juggling, combined with a comfortable but forceful defense of his own view of where this race stands. 50 minutes of questions. He needed to show up big tonight, and he did.
You were right. You called it. You said.
It's amazing how little we expect.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the guy nailed it earlier. They weren't tuning in to hear what he had to say, just how he said it, basically.
Just that if he could say it.
If he could say it, yeah. Can he enunciate?
Yeah.
Oh, good God.
All right, let's do a little more of everything before we wrap it up. David Zier, I'll start with you. Breaking Point, 8 a.m. is right here Saturday morning. What else is going on?
Really quick, cut number 6, Gretchen Whitmer calling for cognitive tests. You can play the first 30 seconds of this.
What more should he do to shut this conversation down? Should he, as some people have suggested, just go ahead and take a cognitive test and demand that Donald Trump do the same?
I don't think that'd hurt, to be honest. But at the end of the day,
So you think that he should take a cognitive test?
I don't think it would hurt. But here's the thing. There's a chapter in my book. I talk about being a happy warrior. I talk about in a debate, I was encouraged to never forget that the person who looks like they're having the most fun wins. Certainly, the first presidential debate was not a great success for President Biden. But he is the happy warrior. He shows up every day and fights for the American public. He cares about other people more than he cares about himself. Sure. And that's precisely why I think this moment where we have Donald Trump, who's been convicted of 34 felonies, who cares only about Donald Trump, we can't lose sight of how high these stakes are. We have a field, and unless one person, Joe Biden, makes an alternative decision, this is the field, and we've got to go.
I think Kathy Hochul and Gretchen Whitmer are doppelgangers.
They got to go, all right.
But, Damon, tomorrow night I'll have more teasers from my Trevor Loudon interview about the schism between leadership in the unions and the common guy, the working man, the average member. And that's all I got for you tonight.
All right, very good. David Zier, Breaking Point, 8 a.m. Saturday mornings. Axios out tonight. Scoop. Donald Trump Jr. is scheduled to speak right before his father's vice presidential pick at the Republican National Convention, a potential sign that former President Trump has zeroed in on Senator J.D. Vance to be his running mate.
Now, why is that the sign? I mean,
is that disinformation?
Isn't his son going to speak before whoever the vice president pick is? Like, how is his speaking just before it a tip-off that it's J.D. Vance? I don't understand it.
Well, I don't know. That's the lead story in Axios. I'll try to dig in why it matters. It's the latest sign that former Trump has zeroed in on J.D. Vance as a favorite contender to be his running mate. Trump has been coy about his VP choice, which he'll announce within days, but Don Jr. has been an early and vocal booster of Vance.
Okay, well, that's
the convention speaking order is the clearest indication yet that the 39-year-old senator could have the inside track to being named the GOP's vice presidential nominee.
Or it's all just a little
Don Jr. on X. Stop what you're doing and watch this right now if you want to know what America First is all about, sharing a clip of Vance speaking at a national conservatism event yesterday. Vance and Don Jr. are very close friends, a relationship that has grown since Vance joined the U.S. Senate in January 2023. Jordan Schachtel on X tonight says, J.D. Vance makes a lot of sense. He is the most aligned VP for Trump. He has the best story to tell. He connects with the Rust Belt and the American everyman. His competition for VP don't offer much inspiration whatsoever. This would be a big win both for the 2024 election and Trump's second term.
And Trump Jr., Don Jr. said, everyone knows I've sort of been for J.D. Vance in a recent episode of his podcast.
That could lead into what, that could be.
So there you go.
There you go, is right.
Heard it here first.
We're being hoodwinked.
All right, Slick, anything else in sports?
I don't really have much time. I was going to get to the Calgary Stampede, but we got a minute and a half, so I don't have anything big.
All right, Delgado, any other news we didn't cover?
Yes, but we'll get to it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we're just about out of time. But I do have a clip from an author about how we survive a nuclear war. Here's a hint. We don't. So.
Well, yeah. Well, yes, we don't. I would think that's probably the answer.
Yeah. It's pretty scary. All
right. What even is that? Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. David Zier, Slick will have sports. We'll all be back. As always, we salute our military, active and active, police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs. Everybody on the front lines protecting us, all our emergency personnel, all our truckers, all our farmers, everybody that keeps the country moving. Thanks, guys, on the show. Aaron Frank, great job as always. Most of all, thank you to live from Studio 6B audience. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here live from Studio 6B.